Hello everyone and welcome to my new Devlog series. This is episode 0, where I'll be kicking things off by introducing myself, talking a bit about the project I'm working on, and giving you a look at what this series will be all about. I've been wanting to dive into making my own game for a while now. I'm super excited to share this journey with you. So first things first. Hi, my name is Andreas and I live up here in the cold north of Sweden. I worked in the games industry for about 10 years at different studios in different supporting roles within QA and release management. And as a person that has a really hard time focusing on one specific thing at a time, it's been great roles to have since I've got the chance to work closely with everything from art and design to code and planning. However, like I think many here, I've always wanted to try and make something for myself. But knowing how much exactly goes into game development had me really hesitant for a long time to try and pick it up. Especially since my knowledge is pretty limited in the practical sense as well. I understand code basics, and I've worked on some 3D stuff before, but there's going to be a lot to learn going forward. But while working on my tutorial videos for my channel, I realized how fun it actually was and decided to just give it a shot. I still enjoy doing tutorials, and I have a bunch of ideas for those going forward. So I thought that I could mix them up with the devlogs and try to make those as helpful for others as I can. The goal is to walk you through each part of the development cycle of a game, so prototyping, development, testing, publishing, and more, while sharing how my project's progressing and trying to make tutorials about parts that I either show in the devlogs or that are requested by you. My hope is that the channel would be a place both to follow along on how the projects are progressing, but also to learn how to make games and interact with a like-minded community. And hey, if you're enjoying this or excited to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment and help build this community together, and let's make something really awesome. Alright, enough about me and onto the game. So the first thing off my chest is that no, I'm not making my dream game over the next couple of years. I'm aiming to make a smaller game in scope that I can realistically plan out and complete within a couple of months. I know myself that following a big super cool sounding project is really fun, but a lot of the time these die out due to the dream games being unrealistic in scope, or that the enthusiasm goes away when the game does not match the dream anymore. Instead, I want to be able to try and complete something, learn from it, and start something new that will hopefully get better with time as I learn. With that said though, my first project will be inspired by something that I really do enjoy, which are older PlayStation 1 games. It's something with them that's always stuck with me, both graphically and the stories and atmosphere of many of the games like Metal Gear Solid, Silent Hill, and Resident Evil. So, of course, that's where I'll start. Now, I'll be making a PS1 style first-person horror game. Even though I'm extremely easily scared, I'm very intrigued with well-made horror. The plan for the game is to lean in more to the atmospheric horror elements, like games such as Amnesia and Penumbra or Call of Cthulhu, rather than being a very jump-scare heavy game. For now, I don't have an entire story and setting in place, but it'll be something I'll sit down with very soon. For now, I'm working with the overarching story that you play as a journalist that has been in contact with a very close friend working at an off-grid research area. As they reported on strange works being done and things being built, then you both decide to work together to gather evidence and go public with it. However, the messages from your friends stop coming, and after a while you decide to go there yourself to try and find out what happened with them. Now of course, things do not go as planned and you'll be stuck at the station, noticing that something's happened and you seem to be the only one there. The objectives are straightforward: rescue your friend, find out what happened, and get out. The player will be able to explore the research station freely and try to find out what happened and how to get out. Exploration will be a key, as some sections will be closed off or unreachable at times, and it's gonna be up to you to figure it out. So that's it for the setup, and as I mentioned, I want to try and create an explorable area with sections or wings that are closed off until you find ways to open them up and progress through the game. Now, I'll have to plan a little bit extra here to find a good middle ground between giving an interesting explorable area while not making it super large and giving myself too much work. And on that note, right now I'm working on completing a prototype of the game, so a very basic version of a section to find out if it's fun to play before committing fully to the idea. If the prototype validates the idea I have, I'll start working on a larger area and create a vertical slice. A vertical slice is pretty much a small portion of the game worked up to close to release quality. It shows what the final version will look and feel like, but it's just a very small section. This can be used as proof of concept, making sure that the look of the game is right, that the gameplay features and mechanics are working as intended, and also something that can be tested by others when the time comes. I'm doing all my planning in Trello for now. It's a great place to collect all the things that needs to be done and get an overview of what's left. Right now it's looking pretty empty since it's just stuff for the prototype, but I'm working on filling that up soon as well. Adding to the planning, I'll also write up a game design document as soon as the prototype is done. This is a document that pretty much contains all information about the game, from the story to features and mechanics and how everything works. It's really great to have during development, as it can help reduce feature creep later on. So if it's not in the document, it should be closely considered before making it into the actual game. It's also great to have when setting up proper testing procedures for the game, since you pretty much have a manual exactly how things should work in the game. With all the talk about what's coming up done, let's head over to Unreal Engine and have a look at what's actually done already. So, first thing I wanted to have done was the first-person controller, because I wanted to be able to move around, but also to be able to, as early as possible, start tweaking and fine-tuning it. Basically, I started with the Unreal Engine FPS controller and ripped out everything I didn't want to use. So I had some arms that could run around in the end. After that, I changed some of the movement systems so that we can walk and sprint and have a working stamina system. Crouching that has some checks for the space you're in, and an early start of an interaction system. That for now lets you open this one door right here. Next up was to get rid of the Unreal arms and add some new ones instead. I went ahead and modeled, rigged and animated some arms and added them to the controller. If you're curious on how to do that, do check out my first person arms tutorial. I also created a basic texture for the arms that I ended up liking quite a lot. Most things are placeholder on the arms for now, as I want to add a flashlight and possibly a camera as well with some new animation, but more on that later. I also set up this fancy master material that's acting as a base for most of the materials in the game. It can do a bunch of stuff like switching and blending between textures, changing brightness, contrast, saturation and tints, as well as rotation and scale. I also added a materials function to it that adds the classic PS1 vertex snapping to meshes. It's a pretty iconic look when it comes to the PlayStation 1 games, so I wanted to add a bit of that as well. Now on that note, this game is PS1-Inspired, so while I'm bringing in the retro vibes like vertex snapping, I won't stick to all the limitations that came with the hardware. I want the game to be fun and playable, while still capturing the essence of the PS1 era. Lastly, I've been working and currently am working on a small portion of the game, which will be the main secure area for the player. It's a security room that connects several wings with each other, and you use it as a base to explore outwards. As you can see, not too much is done yet, but I really wanted to create this devlog from the start to get the chance to get feedback from all of you if there's anything you'd like to see in the game. Well, that's pretty much as far as I've gotten now. I'm super excited to work on this and release updates as often as I can. I currently work a full-time job and I spend most of my free time with my family, so working on this is for when there's time in the evenings, but I'll try to keep a regular schedule of videos going out. If you have any feedback, ideas or questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you all. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of the day.